Hello children, hope you all are fit, fine and healthy and doing well. Also, I hope you all are preparing for your first term examination. So children, if we talk about our syllabus of first term examination, we have completed our two chapters. Chapter 1 is matter and second chapter is measurement. So these two chapters are coming in your first term exam, and whatever we have done in our home assignments from 1st to 10th, and whatever is in your book, given in your book, in your chapters, each and everything is important. You have to go through the chapter, each and every line you have to read, and all the question answers, exercise questions, anything from anywhere can come from these two chapters. Now in exercises, we have done objective type questions in our previous videos related to these chapters. Objective type questions I have explained you. Now if we talk about the subjective type questions which you have done in your notebooks, which were your home assignments, today we will do a quick revision for that, and I will tell you as much as I can tell in this video, the answers of subjective type questions in your book, and if it will be needed, I will write on the board. Okay, so we will discuss the answers, because many students are sending the assignments, but this is very difficult to correct each one separately. This is very time consuming, so I am telling all the answers, and I request you all kindly match all your answers with my answers, and if any correction is needed, just do it in your notebook so that you won't lose your marks in your exams. Once again I am repeating, I will not accept the answers from internet. Just go through the chapter and give the answers as per your syllabus, as per your book. And if you are watching the videos and you are reading the chapter, you don't need to go anywhere for the answer. All things are given in your book and in your videos very clearly and in a better way. So prepare for your exams from the videos and your book only. Okay, so children, let's start with subjective type questions of chapter 1 on page number 19. And first question is, what is matter? Give some examples of matter. Okay, so we all know matter is anything that occupy space and has mass and can be perceived by our senses. Children, this definition I have written on the board in my first video, first home assignment. Okay, so you have to write the complete definition if it comes in your exams, because if you are getting 2 marks, so you have to write that much. Okay, now some example of matter you can all write easily. Chair, table, duster, air, these all are examples of matter. Okay, now second question is, name the 3 states of matter. Give 2 examples of each. Now we all know there are 3 states of matter: solid, liquid and gases. And example of solids are any 2 example you can give: a duster and pen. Liquids, example of liquids, milk, water, juice. Okay, any 2 you can give. And gases, many gases are there: oxygen, nitrogen, hydrogen. Air also is an example of gases, and perfume. These all are example of gases. Okay, now third question is, write any 2 properties of liquids. So on page number 13, here properties of liquids are given. You can write any 2. You can write liquids do not have a fixed shape, and second one, they flow from a higher level to a lower level. This is on page number 13. Now next question is, write any one property of liquids that differentiates them from gases. So liquids have a definite volume while gases do not have a definite volume. This will be the answer of this question. Now next question is, what are intermolecular forces? Children, on page number 27 it is here some keywords are given. Okay, here interparticle forces definition is written. Attraction forces between the particles of matter are called interparticle forces. You have to write complete answer. Okay, if it comes in exam, you have to write complete answer. Now next question is, what are intermolecular spaces? Okay, again on page number 27, from keywords you can get the definition of interparticle space. Here it is given, space between the particles of matter is known as interparticle space. Okay, now next question is, how are liquids and gases similar to each other? So we all know liquids and gases both do not have fixed shape. Okay, so this will be the answer. The liquids and gases both do not have fixed shape. Now next question is, question 8, gases can be compressed easily. Why? So children, on page number 15 of your book, here it is given, a gas can be compressed easily because its particles are far apart and there are large spaces between them, which can be reduced by compression. This will be the answer. Next question, question number 9 is, a liquid can move from one position to another within the liquid. Explain. Again on page number 15, here it is given, due to comparatively weaker interparticle forces, the position of particles in liquid are not fixed. The particles of a liquid can move from one position to another within the liquid. This will be the answer. Now the next question, question G. Answer the following questions in detail. So first question we will not do because it's an activity. We will do later on. And now question number 2 is, solids do not flow. Why? On page number 14 in your book, here it is given, the positions of particles in a solid are fixed. The particles of a solid only vibrate about their fixed positions. They cannot move from one position to another. Means they cannot flow. Next question, question 3 on page number 20. Why do liquids take the shape of container into which they are poured? Now on page number 17, here it is given, liquids do not have a fixed shape. They flow and take the shape of the container into which they are poured. This you will write in this answer. Now question 4 is, explain the arrangement of particles in solids, liquids and gases. So from page number 14 you will write, in solids the particles are closely packed. There is a strong force of attraction between the particles of a solid. Now on page number 15, here it is given, you will write, in liquids the particles are close together but they are not as close as in solids. Now for gases, in page number 15, same page, you will write, in gases the particles are much farther apart from one another as compared to solids and liquids. The spaces between the particles of a gas are very large. Now question 5 is, write the differences between solids, liquids and gases. So in your book on page number 16, here it is given, differences between solids, liquids and gases. So from here you can write the differences. Any 4 differences you can write in your notebook. Now children, we will do subjective type questions of chapter 2, measurement. On page number 44, question E. Answer the following questions in short. So children, question 1, question 2 and question 3 of this question are very similar. So we will do only question number 2, which is what is cubit. Explain why cubit cannot be used as a standard unit of length. So in this answer you will write the length of forearm from elbow to fingertips is called cubit. Cubit cannot be used as a standard unit of length as it varies from person to person. Now question 4 is what is meant by saying that the length of a table is 2 meters. So children, in this answer you will write length of table is 2 meters implies that the length of table is 2 times the standard length of meter, because we know that measurement is the comparison of an unknown quantity with a known constant quantity or unit, and I have already explained this that 2 is a number and meters, this shows the unit of measurement. Okay, so this will be the answer. Now children, next question, question 5 is name 2 devices which are commonly used for measuring length. You all can write any 2 devices, measuring tape, meter scale, meter rod, any 2 devices. Okay. Now next question is what type of scale would you use to measure your chest? So here you will write to measure the chest we will use measuring tape because it's a flexible device to measure the length. Okay, now question number 7 on page number 45 is what type of measuring device would you use to measure? Number A, the girth of a tree. Here you will write measuring tape. Now B is a piece of cloth. For measuring a piece of cloth, we will use measuring tape or meter rod. Okay, now question number 8, state whether the following statement is true or false. Length of a curved line cannot be measured with a meter scale directly. Yes, this is true. Okay, curved line we cannot measure directly by a scale. We have to use a thread and a scale. Okay, now question number 9. Name the unit of length which you would like to use to express the distance between two cities, Delhi and Mumbai. So we all know to measure the distance between two cities we use kilometer. So we will write kilometer is the unit of length which we will use to measure the distance between two cities. Now next question is name the unit of length which should be used to express the thickness of a coin. So we will use the millimeter. Okay, because thickness of a coin is a very small length to be expressed. Okay, now next question is question 11. Name 2 things which can be used to measure the length of a curved line. Just now I have told you to measure a curved line we will use a scale and a thread. Okay, now the next question, question number 13. While 12. What is the smallest length which can be measured accurately by using a meter scale? So millimeter is the smallest length which can be measured accurately by using a meter scale. This will be the answer. Now next question. While measuring the length of a knitting needle, the reading of the scale at one end is 3 centimeter and the other end is 33.1 centimeter. What is the length of the needle? So children, suppose this is the needle and we are measuring it with the scale. Now in the question it is given that one end is 3 centimeter. So this is one end and the other end is 33.1 centimeter. So if we will take the length of the needle, it will be the difference between two readings. So first reading is 33.1 centimeter and we will subtract this reading 3 centimeter from this and we will get 30.1 centimeter. That will be the length of the needle. Okay, now next question is question 19. How many centimeters are there in a meter? You all know 100 centimeters are there in a meter. Now second question, how many millimeters are there in a centimeter? in a scale you can see here, you can also see 10 millimeters make 1 meter. Okay, if you will count, you will get 10 millimeter in 1 centimeter. Now next one is how many millimeters make 1 meter. So we all know 1000 millimeters make 1 meter. Now next one is how many meters make 1 kilometer. So 1000 meters make 1 kilometer. Now question number 20. State the unit in which temperature is commonly measured. So Celsius and Fahrenheit and Kelvin. Any one you can write. These are the common units which are used to measure the temperature. Now 21 is what is the normal temperature of human body on Celsius scale. So in Celsius scale you will write 37 degrees Celsius. This is the common body temperature of human body temperature on Celsius scale, that is 37 degrees Celsius. Now next question is what is the usual temperature range of a laboratory thermometer. So we all know minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. This is the usual temperature range of a laboratory thermometer. Now next question is name the liquid which is commonly used in making thermometers. So mercury is the liquid which is commonly used in making thermometer. Now next question 24. What prevents the mercury level in the glass tube of a clinical thermometer from falling on its own when its bulb is removed from the mouth of a patient? So I have explained that there is a kink in clinical thermometer. So you have to write kink prevents the mercury level in the glass tube of a clinical thermometer from falling on its own when its bulb is removed from the mouth of a patient. Now next question is a clinical thermometer has usually two temperature scales marked on its glass tube. Name these two temperature scales. So you will write two temperature scales in clinical thermometer are number 1 Celsius scale, number 2 Fahrenheit scale. Okay, now next question on page number 46. Question number 27. What is the range of a clinical thermometer on Fahrenheit scale? So here you will write the range of a clinical thermometer on Fahrenheit scale is from 94 degree Fahrenheit to 108 degree Fahrenheit. This is on Fahrenheit scale. Okay, now next question is what is the normal temperature of human body on Fahrenheit scale? Previously this was the normal human body temperature on Celsius scale. Now the normal temperature of human body on Fahrenheit scale is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. Okay, this is on Fahrenheit scale. Okay, now next question is what is the name of those thermometers which do not use mercury? So you will write digital thermometers do not use mercury. Okay, now next question, name the thermometer which can automatically record the highest and lowest temperatures reached during the whole day. Just remember that 6S thermometer, or it is also called maximum minimum thermometer, which is used to record the highest and lowest temperature reached during the whole day. Okay, you have to just remember the name of this thermometer. Now next question is which physical quantity was measured by using sundial in ancient times? This we all know. Sundial was used to measuring the time. Okay, so you will write the now next question is name the standard unit of time. Name 3 units of time used in everyday life. So it's very easy. The standard unit of time is second. Okay, and the 3 units of time used in everyday life are hours, minutes and seconds. Now question number 33. How many seconds are there in 1 hour? Name 2 devices which were used for measuring time in ancient times before pendulum clocks were made. So here in this answer you will write 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes and 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. So 1 hour will be 60 into 60, that will be 3600 seconds. This will be the answer. Many of you have written 60 second. That is wrong. Okay, there are 3600 seconds in 1 hour. Now next part of this question, name any two devices which were used for measuring time in ancient times. So you can write sundial and water clock was two devices which were used to measure the time in ancient times. Now our next question is, name the device whose periodic motion was used for making clocks till recently. Name two natural units of time which were used for measuring time in olden days. So here we will write the periodic motion of simple pendulum was used for making clocks till recently, and in second part of this question we will write sunrise and moon position was two natural units of time which were used for measuring time in olden days. Okay, now next question is, name the material which is used for measuring time in electronic clocks and watches. Name the two most common time measuring devices. Here in this answer we will write quartz crystals. Okay, quartz crystals are is the material which is used for measuring time in electronic clocks and watches. And in the second part of this question we will write the two most common time measuring devices are watches and clocks. So children, this much for today, and till my next video. Thank you and bye bye.